This is an actual picture of Lincoln. Hey, fuck, I'm Shemp. I can make that joke. It's fine. So, I'm wearing this coat. It's my Pepe's coat. And, it's a very French-Canadian sort of, look. All the pockets. They look at me real funny in the grocery stores. It reminded me of this scene in The Last Waltz, the very famous Martin Scorsese directed documentary about the band and their final performance. There's a little scene when they're in the back, and there's Robbie and Rick and Dank and Richard, the three usual suspects, and they're there, and they're talking about a story, and they're laughing, and they're like, yeah, we used to, when we were down in Loctorian, we'd go into the stores, and, we'd all be wearing these pockets with the jackets, and one dude would go in, he'd buy, like a piece of bread. Meanwhile, everybody would have their jacket, and then, it's a joke. I was rewatching that recently, and I'm like, these motherfuckers, and it makes perfect sense, because, you'll see the word band show up a lot, and late 60s, 70s sort of rock songs, because it's a term of heroin, a band of fucking heroin. That's why, I hit the city and I lost my band. Neil Young's pissed because it happens all the time. I've fucking seen grifters fucking pick shit up, So the band are really strung out. Real strung out. That's why it was The Last Waltz, Many people didn't know that. Just like many people think that the band is Southern Americana when most of them are Canadians. And then they think that this jacket is a Canadian jacket when it's London Fog made in Korea. But sometimes it's hard to see what's right in front of you. Total Depravity, Part 3. Belly full of black soot. Oh, the streets of Rome are filled with rubble. Ancient footprints are everywhere. You could almost think that you're seeing double on a cold, dark night on the Spanish Stair. Gotta hurry on back to my hotel room, where I got me a date with a pretty little girl from Greece. She promised she'd be there with me when I paint my masterpiece. Oh, the hours spent. So I made it out my freshman year, never quite really finding a place for myself. I had visited Clio a few times with Mike and some other buddies. We were kind of a ragtag group of. I realized we were doing way more hard drugs than I even envisioned. I was just popping pills like they were Tic Tacs, having no idea what they were, and knowing where Crazy Mike turned. Oh, who knows? Probably fucking taking fucking stronger dope than anybody, man. I had no idea if I was smoking opium. Holy fucking shit, So, the end of my freshman year was a blur. And I actually used this summer to, sober up again. I was on a sober kick. And, long story short, I had made it to my sophomore year, still a virgin. And, like any male, I overthought it. Again, with all my childhood trauma, I didn't even realize really why I always was stumbling and making, mistakes and being awkward, with women. Always having these unrequited relationships, keeping them at bay, or when I did get, someone who was really nice, that was interested in me, I would just fucking, oh yeah, sabotage, cue the Beastie Boys, Beastie Boys are back in town. But, I don't know, things just, my sophomore year, and it wasn't me, it was I had taken a position called Pride Leader, so I was this white dude who was supposed to teach freshmen about diversity. It was interesting. So I was living in a freshman dorm. I'm supposed to be semi-responsible, but again, on a good day, I'm fucking just a seeing glimpses of my room. This isn't because I'm fucking. This is just usual. This is clean. Um, but I just made it real. I had one of my best friends, Nick Bacon. He had transferred in, so he was part of the crew. He had a spot off campus where we would fucking get silly and fucking. Then again, of course, fucking Samwise Lincoln. We get fucking Colin Morgan, this amazing fucking poet. I just can't even. Again, he tells home stories about that. Fucking Hattie Matar. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Oh my god, dude. Um, this guy Ungoni. Um, that was the core, and then there were a few, auxiliary cast of characters who, they wouldn't really party with us. Fucking dudes turned out to be real fucking sellout narcs, CEO types like Shakib, and it's just again. Then there was Renee, which we'll get to a bit later. And we were a weird crew, man. I'm supposed to be like this diversity dude, and fucking I end up like I'm smoking hookah because this dude with this dude, fucking, and the hookah is not just only tainted with fucking weed, but tainted with opium. And I'm there with these two freshman girls. But one was Chinese, one was Japanese. So there I am, perpetuating an Oriental stereotype. When I read the Quiet American freshman year, I was supposed to know better. But hey, that's funny, right? So let me tell you, there were some nights. Jesus Christ, how we made it? Because again, it was me being just a poor fucking dude who fucking had a bottomless pit and insatiable appetite, hard wiring, being around people of means, who Tom Sawyers need Huck Finns need Tom Sawyers, and the band plays on, and I had a great fucking band, man. It was like jazz, free flow. There was like no one fucking leader. I mean, I've always considered myself as the backbone, which is probably why all my fucking crews are always so goddamn spineless. Anywho, no, we were cool. It was cool. Again, Lincoln was the real hero, but he had Lincoln was very innocent. We all got eroded and corroded a bit. The boys. We were the benchmen. We just sat on a bench and we just chilled. And I was just myself, and long story short, again, I don't want to fucking sully their names. They're real good people. I was a ladies' man. I was dating this. She was a senior at the time. This girl was gorgeous. She was gorgeous. We met at Clio at this really controversial party called Pimps and Hoes. I was dressed as a pimp. She was dressed as a hoe. Racist. A racist, but later on, down the line, they finally got called out for it. But it was very, and again, now thinking about all the fucking sex trafficking and all the sex work and just not a good look. But again, Cleo as a college frat was above that kind of chauvinistic patriarchy because, identity politics. Long story short, I stepped into something magical. Of course, I was the person I lost my virginity to, so I was bound to fuck it up with all my trauma, and that makes sense now all the times we were just hanging out where I would just cry. I think that's why maybe she liked me, because it's like, I've never been with a boy who, man, would just fucking be crying for fucking an hour straight. Oh man, he must really love me. I just, yeah, but I had a lot to vent. Again, I was partying recklessly, but I think with her, again, we would drink a lot, but, and then my buddy Colin, he had to drift off, which was kind of a blessing, because he was Mighty Quinn, And the other Mighty Quins were just not, they weren't charismatic, and they were rich fucking pieces of shit, so I wasn't gonna fucking do fucking crazy drugs with them. Fuck you. Lincoln, let's just fucking, Benadryl? Okay, we'll do some Benadryl, that sounds cool. Oh, Nick, you're gonna get, nah, Nick, I wouldn't get prescribed amphetamines, that's gonna be weird. But, it was, interesting times, it was a good fucking life, man. I was crushing it. In all honesty, I was crushing it. I was taking a senior seminar of neuroscience and biology. I was the highest performer in there. I was a teaching assistant. It was the teacher who was a great dude, smart dude, but he was unreliable. I think he was fucking. And so I had to fucking meet this girl, Will and Grace. Will and Grace had to be the TAs, had to teach a class, so I'm there fucking teaching a class, doing a fucking pretty good job. I always wanted to be a professor, to teach people fucking some shit. maybe that worked out. We'll see. But yeah, it was nice, and I had decided to actually join the Clio Alpha Chi Co-Educational Literary Society because the girl I was dating was a member. And the people who were there at the time seemed to me real fucking cool, and it would have been whatever. Why not? And I liked the party, and it was like, hey, it was an interesting experience, but in hindsight, that more than my frailties, and even more than like all the other stuff that was going on at Trinity, and the girl Renee being in the shadows of my past, um, something was off. Something was off. And then once I became a member there, it was always a bacchanal, and I became increasingly despondent. Started to drink heavily. Those Wednesday nights when we would have our meetings, especially, because it would be enabling. It'd be a fucking ragtag group of people pretending to be fucking, in the trappings of, ooh, we're a cult, haha, but we're not. But it was a drug cult. It was a fucking drug cult. And since it was co-ed, there would be a weird psychosexual dramas left and fucking right, and then hardcore drug use. And then again, because of this secret heroin addiction that had always been rooted there, and the speed that was always in the wings, an ebb and flow of pure madness, of total depravity. When I barely was, they wouldn't even let me see it. And again, I did not want to fully see it because I was lovesick and secretly dope sick. So I eventually sabotaged my relationship with this girl who, again, if I wrote it out, again, you become so transactional and parasitic when you're in a spot like that and when you're glug, glug, glug. But I did risk a cost-benefit analysis. She was well connected. I partied with Richard Gere. I overheard Harry Connick Jr. say, "But they're giving the job to all the damn Mexicans." I was jet-setting, okay? I could have had a book published, alright? I knew someone who helped David Foster Wallace publish his book. I could have had a book published already. On the surface, I could have had a really good life, I think. Would have looked like I was doing very well. I would have been in New York. Shit, I could have been writing for the New Yorker. You never know. It would have looked very nice. And you never know, maybe it would have been, with her. Things looked like they turned out very well for her, but I think if it was with me, it wouldn't have. It would have always gotten bitter. It would have always been blackened by some sort of soot that, I was raised into. The coal mines, that shadow East Hartford. And again, that's why I'm humbling, because East Hartford's fucking crazy, and it's dead end, and it's full of a fucking bunch of crazy, fucking drugged out, fucking fever dream lunatics, but so was New Canaan when I went down there. So was Houston when I went over there for my only time I ever went on a plane trip. The only time. So I break up with this girl because I think I'm, and again, I'm like me, I'm like my mother, I'm already at that point so dependent on, I think, just the chemical release of love or of just sex and substance abuse and codependent enabling that I need someone else. So there's this girl, Renee, which I guess maybe I'll tell about later in the next part. Maybe? That took longer than I thought. Oh, the hours we spent inside the Colosseum, dodging lions and wasting time. Oh, those mighty kings of the jungle, I could hardly stand to see 'em. Yes, it sure has been a long, hard drive. Train wheels are running through the back of my memory. When I ran on a hilltop following a pack of wild geese. Someday everything's gonna sound like a rhapsody when I paint my masterpiece of love and peace from the fart to be continued.